Inside pretty much every powerful computer, there's this constant battle going on, this fundamental conflict between the need for just blistering speed and the absolute necessity for data protection. So today, we're going to take a look at a piece of hardware that claims it can finally end that compromise, the Eureka ARC 1203-2N. Let's break down exactly how it pulls off both performance and peace of mind.
In the world of high-performance computing, this is the classic trade-off, right? Do you push for every single last drop of speed to make your system as snappy and responsive as possible? Or do you build in all these safeguards for your data, which, let's be honest, can often slow things down? For the longest time, the answer was, well, you couldn't have both. You just had to pick a side.
So on one hand, you've got the rocket ship, pure speed, for instant boot times, running demanding apps without a single stutter. And on the other hand, you've got the fortress, which is all about protecting your work from drive failures, data corruption, system crashes, you name it. For anyone whose job really depends on their machine, compromising on either one of those isn't just an inconvenience. It's a risk you really can't afford to take.
So how in the world do you get the best of both worlds? Well, you stop trying to solve a hardware problem with software compromises. You turn to a dedicated solution, something that was designed from the ground up for one single purpose: delivering performance and protection without asking you to choose. And that brings us to the hardware we're looking at today.
And here it is, the Eureka ARC 1203-2N. Now, it looks like a simple low-profile adapter card, right? It's designed to manage two of those little M2 NVMe solid-state drives. But it's what's on this card that makes all the difference. We're talking about a dedicated processor, its very own memory, and a few other really clever tricks up its sleeve that we're about to get into.
The key phrase to remember here is true hardware RAID. This isn't just some software that's borrowing your computer's main processor to manage the drives. No. This card has its own dedicated brain. By offloading all those complex storage tasks, it completely frees up your system's CPU to focus on what it should be doing, running your applications. And that one difference is how you achieve both incredible speed and rock-solid reliability at the same time.
Okay, let's start with the first big pillar of what makes this card so special: raw performance. How does a small card like this actually make your whole system feel faster? Well, it all comes down to the hardware it's packing. So what's under the hood? Well, it starts with a dedicated ARM processor that has one job and one job only: manage your storage. It's paired up with 512 megabytes of its own high-speed cache. Think of it as a temporary memory bank that lets it handle data requests instantly without ever slowing down your main system. And it all connects through a high-speed PSXC slot, so there are absolutely no traffic jams for your data.
Now, if you want pure, unadulterated speed, the card can be set up in what's called RAID 0, or striping. It basically breaks up your data and writes it across two drives at the exact same time, which can essentially double your performance. Now, to be clear, this mode doesn't offer any data protection, but it's a perfect example of how the hardware can squeeze every last bit of speed out of your drives when that's all that matters.
But of course, performance is only half the story. The really crucial part for any professional system is protecting your data. So let's move on to our second pillar and see how this card literally builds a fortress around your most valuable asset.
And this right here is the core of its protection strategy: RAID 1, also known as mirroring. And it's just elegantly simple. Every single piece of data that's written to the first drive is instantly and exactly duplicated onto the second drive. So if one drive fails, it's not a catastrophe. The system just keeps on running seamlessly from the mirrored copy. That means zero data loss and zero downtime. This makes it absolutely perfect for your critical boot drive. Okay, so a single drive failure is one thing. But what about something a little more dramatic? What happens to the data that's in the middle of being written? The data sitting in that super fast cache memory when somebody suddenly trips over the power cord. That data could be lost, or worse, corrupted forever.
And this is where the Eureka card shows its real genius. See those two little golden cylinders on the board? Those are supercapacitors. The very moment the card senses a power failure, they discharge, providing just enough electricity for the processor to write everything from its temporary cache safely onto the drives. It's like having an onboard miniature backup power supply, ensuring that even a sudden blackout won't corrupt your data. It's incredible.
And the protection doesn't even stop there. The card has several professional-grade failsafes built right in. A bad firmware update? No problem. It just automatically reverts to the last working version. What if your entire server dies?
Just move the drives to a new system with another Erica card, and your RAID array is instantly recognized. And when you do replace a failed drive, it automatically rebuilds the mirror in the background. It's just designed for continuous, non-stop operation. All right, so it's powerful and it's safe, but is it complicated to set up? That brings us to our third and final pillar, seamless integration. Because let's face it, the best hardware in the world doesn't matter one bit if you can't easily get it working.
For anyone out there who has ever spent hours, maybe even days, hunting down the right driver for a piece of hardware, these are the magic words. For most modern operating systems, you don't have to install a single extra thing. You just plug it in and it works. But how?
The answer is something called NVMe mode. The card is designed to use the standard built-in NVMe drivers that are already a part of Windows, Linux, and even macOS. So to your computer, it doesn't present two separate messy drives. It just shows a single, ultra-fast, ultra-reliable storage volume, ready to go. No fuss, no hassle.
The physical setup is just as simple. You mount your M2 drives right onto the card, it just takes a second, slide the card into an open PCIe slot on your motherboard, and screw in the bracket to secure it. And that's it. Hardware-wise, you are done.
And managing it is just as easy. The card has its own Ethernet port, so you can log into a really clean, simple web interface from any browser on your network. There's a quick Create function that lets you configure a protected RAID 1 volume in just a few clicks. It's incredibly powerful control, but made really, really accessible.
Okay, so let's pull all this together. When you look past all the specs and the technical jargon, what does this card actually deliver? Well, it really boils down to three core benefits. At the end of the day, what the ARC 1203-N provides is a complete all-in-one solution. You get that hardware-accelerated performance that frees up your CPU. You get layered data protection, everything from drive mirroring right down to power failure protection. And you get it all with a simple, driverless installation that's going to save you time and a whole lot of headaches.
And really, that brings us right back to our opening question. When your data is critical, whether it's your main operating system or your entire life's work, why would you ever gamble on software? A dedicated hardware solution like this isn't just some nice upgrade. It's the professional standard for performance, reliability, and most importantly, for your own peace of mind.